Alright, let's talk about it. Today, we are going to break down the complete science-backed plan to not just get to 12% body fat, but to actually stay there. This is that sweet spot where your abs really start to pop, you see some veins in your arms, but you can still go out and enjoy your life. So 12% body fat, it sounds totally doable, right? But here's the thing, the data shows that almost everyone who tries to get there fails. Your body is incredibly smart, and if you don't have the right strategy, you're either going to get stuck pretty early on, or even worse, you'll end up regaining more fat than you lost in the first place. And get this, a DEXA scan analysis of over 9,000 men revealed a pretty stark reality. Less than 1% ever actually reach or go below 12% body fat. But you know what? Today, we're going to change that for you. So here's this 6-part blueprint we're going to walk through. This is based on insights from some of the world's top scientists and coaches designed to help you get to your goals successfully. Okay, first things first, and this is absolutely critical. The goal here isn't just weight loss, it's fat loss. And that whole mission kicks off with one major objective. You have got to protect your hard-earned muscle. Just listen to what sports physiologist Dr. Mike Israetel says. Losing muscle doesn't just leave you looking kind of skinny fat instead of lean and defined. It also tricks your body into fighting back even harder, cranking your hunger and cravings into overdrive. Your lifting routine, well, that's your biggest line of defense against all of that. But that brings up a really good question, right? How much training do you actually need to do to prevent this? Well, a groundbreaking 16-week study recently split people into 3 different groups to find the definitive answer. So let's dig into the results. The first group, they only dieted. And yeah, they lost a solid 15 pounds, which sounds great on paper. But here's the huge catch. A staggering 40% of that weight they lost was pure muscle. That's definitely not what we're aiming for. Now the second group, they just added one little 30-minute full body workout a week. And that simple change, it cut their muscle loss in half, all the way down to 20%. So better for sure, but still a pretty significant loss of that lean tissue we want to keep. But this is where it gets really interesting. The third group, they just doubled their training to 2 30-minute workouts per week. And the results? They lost the same amount of weight as the second group, but with 0 muscle loss. 100% of their weight loss came from pure body fat. So what's the magic number? What's the minimum effective dose here? Well, the study showed that as few as 6 hard sets per muscle group per week was enough to stop all muscle loss during the diet. So for your chest, that could be as simple as, say, 3 sets of bench press and 3 sets of flies. That's it. Okay, so you've got your training locked in to preserve all that muscle. Now your diet becomes the real engine that's going to drive your fat loss. And as you're about to see, setting it up is probably a lot simpler than you think. Nutrition expert and PhD Dr. Lane Norton, he simplifies the entire diet setup into this really clear 4-step process. First, set your protein high to protect your muscle. Second, set up your calorie deficit. Third, fill in the rest with carbs and fats. And fourth, and this is key, track and adjust as you go. The most effective diet in the world is the one you can actually stick with. Like Dr. Norton says, don't overthink your carb to fat ratio. It really doesn't matter if you prefer more savory, high-fat foods or more starchy, high-carb foods. As long as your protein and your calories are on point, you are going to lose fat. Okay, so you've set up your training and diet perfectly. The weight is just melting off for a few weeks and you're feeling great. And then, bam, it just stops. This isn't you failing, it's just your body's biology fighting back. Duke scientist Dr. Eric Trexler explains this whole phenomenon. It's called metabolic adaptation. Basically, your body senses that you're dieting and it subtly starts to reduce its calorie burn. It does this by slowing down your resting metabolism and even subconscious stuff, like how much you fidget throughout the day. So what this means is that for every 5% drop in your body weight, your metabolism can slow by about 100 to 200 calories a day. Your initial fast progress it's inevitable, it will slow down. And if you don't make an adjustment, it'll just grind to a complete halt. But hey, the solution here isn't complicated at all. Just track your weight every day and take a weekly average. As soon as that average hasn't dropped for 2 weeks in a row, it's time to make a move. All you gotta do is make a small 100-calorie cut to your daily target to get that fat loss engine fired up again. A huge mistake people make is trying to lose all the fat in one heroic, non-stop push. Going from 25% down to 12% in one go sounds impressive, but trust me, it's a recipe for rebound weight gain and just insane cravings. For long-term success, the kind that actually lasts, you have to think in phases. The goal is to lose about 5 to 7% of your body weight over a 12 to 16 week period. After that, you take a break. You either maintain your new weight for a few weeks, or even better, you switch into a muscle building phase for a few months before you even think about dieting again. Okay, so everything we've talked about so far, that'll get you most of the way there, probably down to about 15% body fat. But to push through that final wall and get all the way down to 12%, well, you need to strategically bring out the final tools in your kit: cardio and psychology. To break through these final stubborn plateaus, researcher Dr. Eric Helms has a really simple 80-20 rule. 80% of your deficit adjustments should come from slightly reducing your food. Only 20% should come from adding more cardio. This lets you save cardio as a secret weapon for when dropping your calories any further just becomes unsustainable. And finally, we have to talk about the mental game, because this is where so many people sabotage themselves right at the finish line. Coach and researcher Lauren Conlin warns against these super common psychological traps. Stop saving up calories for a massive cheat meal, because that just leads to a binge. Instead, be selective with your treats. And maybe most importantly, you have to recognize that some hunger is just a normal part of the process. Accepting it instead of trying to fight it is a really powerful mental shift. So after hearing all the science, the final question is really for you. What level of leanness is truly sustainable for your body and your life? Look, some people get lean really easily, and for others, it's a real struggle. If you find yourself feeling miserable way before you even get close to 12%, just remember that you can look absolutely incredible at a higher body fat, especially after you've built a solid foundation of muscle. Ultimately, the real goal isn't a number, it's finding a result you can actually maintain for good.